continue to follow this. And the violence of this incident leaves questions about the state's gun laws when it comes to minors. Our Missouri Chief Capitol Bureau reporter Emily Manley is looking into that. She joins us live from Jefferson City with a response from both sides of the aisle. Emily?
Well, Mandy, back in 2016, there may be some Missourians that remember this, that the General Assembly reversed a state law allowing an open carry here in the state of Missouri. And what that means is that concealed carry permits are not required to have a gun. There's also a federal law that is not really enacted here in the state of Missouri. And that's because that federal law says that there's an age requirement to buying a firearm, but not here in Missouri. And after this weekend's violence in downtown St. Louis, some are saying enough is enough and it's time for a change.
The legislature's lack of action on gun safety laws encourages the proliferation of guns on our streets and puts our responding officers directly in harm's way. This is a no-win situation.
St. Louis City is in the headlines again for gun violence, following a horrific scene in downtown early Sunday morning after gunfire broke out at a party.
This is the first state and city that I come to where juvenile is not prohibited. It should at least mirror the federal law.
St. Louis City leaders and representatives calling on the Republican supermajority in the General Assembly for not taking action and strengthening the state's gun laws sooner.
And really, that has been the message of the GOP legislature for the last decade. It's been promoting gun ownership and carrying a gun everywhere you go.
But the other side of the aisle says everyone has a responsibility to try and address these problems.
Or you can be a weak leader and you can blame the other political side. The other political party. And I'm not saying my political party has all the answers and has done all the right things, because I don't think we have.
Back in 2021, lawmakers approved the Second Amendment Preservation Act, SAPA, prohibiting police officers from enforcing federal gun laws. And if they do, they could be fined up to $50,000.
But these things are really technical. And what they really mean is if a kid's just walking down the street carrying that gun and you don't know how he got it, the police can't do anything about it.
Some GOP members saying they're ready to have that conversation.
Some folks want to draw that line at 21. Some folks want to draw it at 18. Some people want to draw it younger. I'm willing to have the conversation about drawing the line, about where we as a legislature agree that that's the line.
Now, this past session, there was an effort to pass legislation that would ban minors from being able to have a gun in public without adult supervision. But when that came up for a vote in the House, it failed, with nearly every Republican voting against it. Mandy?
Emily, is there anything that cities or local governments can do to regulate this open carrying of firearms?
Well, there actually is. Under state law, actually what happened in 2016, there is a way for cities and local governments to pretty much regulate their open carry law here. But many municipalities don't do it because they're worried that if they would put something in place requiring people to show a concealed carry permit in that municipality, that there could be legal action that is thrown at them for enforcing it.
So, Emily, if lawmakers don't pass these laws to strengthen gun laws in the state, is there anything else Missourians can do?
I want to refer to that kind of like the legalizing recreational marijuana. You know, we've heard from many Missourians that wanted that to happen over the years. And when lawmakers didn't do it, Missourians took it on the ballot themselves. And we could see the same thing happen with this topic. We could see Missourians get enough signatures to put something on the ballot to allow voters to decide if there should be stricter gun laws in Missouri. And we are hearing rumors that there was a chance that there could be a question on the ballot in 2024 asking Missourians just if there should be stricter laws in the Show Me State.
Interesting. All right, Emily Manley, live in Jeff City. Thank you.